What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie, and this is part 17, I believe, of my reviewing and ranking Yes's live albums. After I did the studio albums, I realized I was only aware of 4 of the live albums. I was aware of others, I just never listened to them. But I knew the first 3, and then I knew Progeny, that awesome box set of 72 shows. And I was like, it's a lot of live albums by Yes. I'm going to listen to all of them and see how worthwhile they are. I'm almost at the end. This is, thankfully, the last of the live albums that are recent, meaning there's a couple more left on this list, but they're from 70s. One of them might be from the 60s. I think that BBC might have 60s stuff in it. No, I think it's just 70s. Don't think it's that. I don't know. I haven't listened to it. But we're at the end of the John Davison era, the Steve Howe being the only kind of original member, not original member, but long-standing member era. It's been rough going recently, but there have been some surprises in this journey. I'm going to talk about this release, the Royal Affair Tour live from Las Vegas. I'm from the States, live from Las Vegas. While that means something different recently, mostly because of the Sphere, live from Las Vegas is usually not a good signifier of anything. Sorry, Las Vegas. I've been there many times. Seen some good shows there, so I'm wrong. My bad. That Fish show, 98. All right. But, yeah. This is I'm going to talk about this, review it. I'll show where it falls between the other ones. Then I will show my top 10 favorite live tracks so far in this entire 17 album journey. But anyways, this is a 2 CD release, right? Is it 2 or is it only 1? It's a single CD release. Yeah, a short one of almost the complete show from July 26, 2019. It was released in 2020. The band is Steve Howe, is on guitar and vocals, Alan White drums and percussion, Billy Sherwood, Jeff Downs on keys, Billy Sherwood bass, and John Davison on lead vocals. Almost the entire show is here. There's a Steve Howe solo piece that's missing, and having listened to this album, thankfully, Gates of Delirium is missing, because I cannot imagine that went well, considering how well some of this other stuff went. I don't think Davison's voice works. I think the perfect example of that is Roundabout. I was listening to Roundabout, and they do the full version, which they get points. I'm going to rank all the songs from like how I think from going from studio to live, how well whether they improve, or I'm going to rank the songs according to how well that transition is made, not how well I like the songs. But listening to Roundabout, when Anderson sings Roundabout, he's got that driving voice. I'll be your roundabout. It feels like he's like propelling the music forward, that he's there on whatever ride we're going on. When Davison sings, particularly I noticed it in Roundabout, but I think it's in other songs, it's almost like he's backing away from the song, and he's like almost like slowing it down. Like his vocals are, we got some energy, like do 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 do, we're going along, and he's like, I'll be your roundabout, and it's almost like he's like literally slowing the music down, like he's literally weight that's pulling the momentum of the song down. Not that he's a bad singer, but it's just his choices that he makes. I'm not a fan of them. And I realized listening to this release what exactly it was. And it's like, it feels like he's not with the song. He's not in the song. He's somewhere separate. And his choices are to like, almost like hold, I don't know. It's weird. Listen to it. But Davison doesn't work. Chris Squire not being here, obviously is missed with his bass. I looked at the set list. I was pretty intrigued by the set list. Some good choices. The No Opportunity Necessary to open the show. Great choice. Tempest Fugitive. Could always hear that more often. Siberian Khatru played often, but we haven't heard it in a while in some releases. We get an America, which was pretty cool, which was awesome. It includes something called Southern Solo, a Howe piece in the middle, which is the highlight of the track, I would argue. Get a cover of Imagine, which is just... and then we get your other typical stuff that Yes has been playing always. So I'm going to rank the songs. There's 10 of them, from 10 to 1. I'll put the list on the screen, then I'll show you where I think this falls among the others. Number 10, my least favorite song on here is Imagine. Nobody should ever cover Imagine, ever, ever, ever. John Lennon did it. He did it once. He did it perfectly. That's all that needs to be said. Just play the song. You don't need other people singing it. I don't think anybody can add anything to Imagine. Number 9 is Onward. Pretty typical. Sounds like the album. Maybe a little not as effective because it's live and it's this version of the band, but it's Onward. Going for the One. I think it kind of starts off interestingly. Almost has a sleeker quality about it. Like it's a little trimmed down, a little more like economical. And that's kind of intriguing for a while. But then the singing starts. And then once we get into like the actual like meat of the song, it sounds awkward. The pieces don't seem to work. I've always thought Go In For The One was kind of a weird song to begin with, just because the slide guitar sound and all that stuff. But these pieces don't seem to, they're all there. Like you go, oh, I recognize that, but they just don't all seem to gel too well. So Going For The One is rough. Your Move, I've Seen All Good People part has zero energy. Like, it's just, we get into it and like, there's just no forward momentum. And they're just like, da 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 da. I mean, but it's not that, because that would be cool if they're like slowing it down purposely. It just sounds like it lacks energy. And there's a point in the song where David's is like, right before like the solo, he was like, take it away. And then nothing ever really seems to change. And I'm like, was he telling somebody to take away a mic stand on stage or something? I don't know. I didn't feel it in the music. Nobody took anything away musically that I heard of. Davison tried. He tried to get them going, but it wasn't very effective. Roundabout gets points for being the full version, intro, middle section, prog section in the middle. But that proggy section in the middle is just doesn't work, man. I mean, the notes are there, but it's like, da na na na. I mean, it just feels it's lacking something. Probably Chris Squire's bass more than anything, but it's just like they're competent versions of the songs, but there's lacking a fire. Number 5 is America, which has the best moment of the entire CD, that solo in the middle, how really stretches out. It's fantastic. It's actually enjoyable. It's the highlight of the song, but the song itself, I mean, it's the highlight of the album. The song itself is just, no. Go back and listen like that version off the Word, or go back and listen to any version. There's not that meat of the organ. There's not that drive. There's not that urgency. It's just the song itself. I was so excited to see it on the set list, and then I listened to it. I'm like, suffer through to the middle part, because the middle part is absolutely fantastic, and I think Howe actually brings some life into it, and that part's pretty interesting. But the rest, the actual beginning and end, when we're actually dealing with the song, I'm just like, just not there. Number 4 is Siberian Khatru. I actually had this higher on the list. And then we get to the end part where they're like, bum, ba-da, that weird proggy part before like we go off into like the ending jam solo. And that part hurt me. That part just like, it was almost painful. Howe tries throughout this album. He tries at the end of this. Howe's doing his best to like maybe bring some life. This should not be a Yes album. This should not be a Yes band. Howe should have done what Hackett did. Howe should go on tour as Steve Howe, like Hackett goes on tour as Steve Hackett. Hackett's doing a better job of bringing Genesis to the masses than Howe's doing a good job, I think, of bringing Yes to the masses, but at least it would be under his name. And then people would go see Howe. He could do some more solo cuts, and every time he dropped a Yes out song, they'd be like, oh my gosh, he's doing Yes, this is fantastic. It could be the exact same band. Who cares? Is he doing that now? I don't know what he's doing now. I'm just following these live albums. I haven't followed what they're doing live now. Is he using just his name now? I don't know. I think he's using Yes. But that's what he should have been doing this entire time, if you ask me. Yeah, but Siberian Khatru, it's got some moments, but just the middle part when they get really proggy and the end part with that that part, it hurts. 3, Tempest Fugit, has this really weak sort of Santana percussion intro before we get into Tempest Fugit. The actual music of it, I'm okay with. It definitely is lacking that Squire Drive. I like this song. The singing immediately kind of checks me out of it, but it's a good song choice. It's not a bad song. Starship Trooper is such a fantastic song that it falls at number 2 because it's Starship Trooper and it's absolutely fantastic. Hal's trying to do something interesting with the closing solo. It's still lacking what it was in 10 years prior to this, but it's Starship Trooper, and that's an amazing song. And then number 1, I think clearly number 1, and it's almost like I wish it wasn't number 1 because it's the opening track, and you're like, oh, okay, great song choice. Not the best version. I mean, it cannot compare to sort of the energy of the original, just not a chance. But it's not bad. It's got some momentum. The energy is there. I'm like, there's hope. Don't. Hope is a dangerous thing. Yeah, so the number 1 would be no opportunity necessary, no experience needed. Pretty good. Love that they played it. Great song choice, great song selection to open the show. Fantastic. But yeah, that would be easily the only thing I think worth checking out on this album. And the Jam in America. That's what they look like. Those are the 10 songs. Again, there was a house solo piece that was left off. They played Gates of Delirium, which I'm so glad was not included on here because that can't be good. I just can't imagine. But who knows? Who knows? I haven't been a big fan of this John Davison era of Yes, so maybe people who are think they did a really good job on that. Where would this album rank among all the others so far? I have it second to last. I'm giving it points for that opening. I'm giving it points for the Tempest Fugit because it's a good song choice. I'm giving a little credit for that America Jam. I think it's better than 50 Live. I think it almost feels a little less ambitious and a little more humble, and maybe that's why it works better. But yeah, they're both not that good, those bottom ones. But yeah, I have it down at 16. And then even though I have a couple more live albums to do, so far at this point, those are my top 10 songs of all the live albums so far. The Yours Is No Disgrace of Progeny, the highlights version is fantastic. There's 7 different versions on the box set, but we're going with the highlights version. The big medley, awesome off The Word Is. I think we got a couple more. The Word Is and American and Everydays. A bunch of songs off Yes Songs, the first album I did. Yours Is No Disgrace, Perpetual Change, Long Distance Run Around the Fish, fantastic. Ritual Part 2 off Yes Shows. I would take the whole Ritual, but they broke it up into 2 separate parts, and the second part was better. But that could be one long song since it technically is one long song. We'll throw that whole Ritual in there. Whitefish, yeah, we got a Tempest Fugit thrown in there. Got a little Sound Chaser thrown in there. A fantastic little jam. And the Starship Trooper off Keys to Ascension is the one I'm putting on here. Now, that one was really good. But yeah, those are my 10 favorite songs so far. All right, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Thanks all of you who comment on this, who've seen this recent incarnation of Yes. Love to know like a positive spin on this. Try not to be negative, but this is hard listening, especially when everything else is so readily available and I have most of the other stuff, from 70s and 80s and I can listen to whatever I want. It's hard to find a reason to put this on because I don't think the performances are that good. I'd go see it live, but I'm not sure I'd want to buy it and re-listen to it. Live's different. But yeah, all right. That's all I got. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, share, comment, do all those things. And go listen to the opening track on this album, and then go listen to the Word Is Live box set. That thing's ridiculous. That's a good box set. All right. That's all I got. Peace. Talk to you later.